Hi everyone, this is Kunal from Loop 91 and welcome to 4th episode of our series where we are learning how to work with Flow Designer. Before we start, let me recap what we have done already. We have learned how to create a flow, how to create an action, how to add that action to a flow, and then we learned about error handling, how to handle errors that you did not expect while you were making the flow. If you do not know about those things, go back, watch those videos, come back. I'll put the link in the description. And let's now begin today's video. Today's episode, we are talking about subflows. They are reusable, self-contained automation sequences that can be invoked from another flow. Let's look at our proposal task table. We created a flow other day and where we wanted to close all the child tasks whenever the parent proposal was closed. For example, if I were to set this state to close complete, I would want flow to go through and loop all over these proposal tasks and set their state to close complete. We had already created a flow to handle our requirements. Now within this flow, I want to create a subflow to move a functionality that I know would be reused in other flows. For example, I have this number 5 and it is a single step. What it does is it takes a proposal task record and updates the state to close complete. So I want to move this functionality to a new subflow. Now before we start, let us understand what we want to do. I want to create a subflow, imagine a subfunction, and the input for this flow or function would be the glide record or the Sys ID and the state that I want to set the state to. Right. So let us quickly click on subflow and we'll call it close proposal task. Once we have it, first we would declare what are our inputs on this. So first I want to receive the Sys ID of the proposal task that I wish to update, and I cannot make this subflow work if I don't have it, so I'll make it mandatory. Second would be the state value, and again this is mandatory, so we will make that mandatory. Now that we've declared the inputs, one thing you will observe is that now you have those values as context boxes here. There is some issue, so what we'll do is we'll force save this and so one thing that has happened to me before as well, you cannot use Sys ID here, so you could use Sys and capitalize the ID and that should be it. Yeah, now we have saved it. We'll close these errors, and once we've done that, we will start updating these records. So since we have received the Sys ID, we will need to look up the records, look up record, and the table would be proposal task, and the condition that we are setting is that since we have the Sys ID, we'll say Sys ID is the value that we received from the parent as input here. Done. We'll quickly update this, update the record, proposal task record, we drag it here, and once we've done that, we will add the state to what we received from the input. Now this looks okay enough, but if you remember what we did in the previous class about error handling, we should add that here, right? So whenever there is an error, I want the flow, the parent flow, to know that there was an error, and for that we need to create an output. We'll call it success and we will make it true false. Done. And whenever there's an error, we will assign subflow output success to true. Oh, sorry, 2 false, my mistake. That is done. But since we have set success as false in case of error, we should set it true in case of success, right? So again, assign Subflow outputs. Let's add a value success and true. Done. As always, we will test this Subflow. So we will go to our parent record. We will open this record and we will close it. We need to copy the Sys ID. Test Sys ID is this, and the state value that we need to set is 3. Run test. Let's open up the context, and it says complete a record. And what was the error? Right, because there's a mandatory text in SD that did not work, right? And that is why this is important, that we actually have error handling, right? So what we will do is we need to update that task. Yeah, it clearly should not be able to save it. There was a requirement that the SD should contain this text. So let's do that. Task created for, I'll save this and run the test again. 3, run test, and yes, we have successfully completed the run. And if I were to go to the proposal task and refresh it, it says close complete. Now that we know this works, what we will do is we will publish this, so that once you publish, only then you could use this Subflow in other flows. So we will publish this. Once published, our next step would be to go to the flow and modify it. So this is a step that we're trying to replicate, to replace. So we delete this and add our Subflow here. Close proposal task. If you remember, we set up 2 inputs there, and those are 2 inputs that now show up here. So the state value that you want to set is 3, and Sys ID is something that we can pick from the for each record. So we'll click on data pill number 4. We'll expand the record and we will look for Sys ID. Now we have added the Subflow with 2 parameters. The state value that we want to set is 3, and the Sys ID record that we want to set is selected from the for each record. Done. We will activate this and then quickly jump to our task proposal, and we will try to run this. So this is already set to close complete. So let us open it and then we'll close it again. Now if we see, we have 3 tasks that are closed, and the 4th one is that we expect to close once we set this to close complete. Save, and let me refresh this, and it has been now closed. So what we have done successfully is that we moved a part from within this flow and created a new Subflow. Now this is a very simple example with a single step, but imagine you had to go through 10 steps to get something done. You could move that into a new Subflow. And remember, flows by default have a limitation of only having 50 actions within one flow. You can obviously modify a sys property to expand that, but the idea behind setting that limit was to keep this as clean as possible and move repetitive tasks, repetitive actions, or bunch of actions into a Subflow. If you create a Subflow, you can use it within multiple flows, and that is where it actually shines. Thank you for watching this video, and if you like it, please subscribe. And if you really like it and if you're being generous, please share it with others. Thank you.